This is how we make rain the simple way. Well, making rain is easy because we use sprinkler heads on PVC pipe underneath here. We've got, for this particular show, we have 5 sprinkler heads, 90-degree sprinkler heads, aimed down on the set. And they're dual action because one side sprays forward, hits the wall, one side sprays down. We've got a lot more plugs up here during research and development, not knowing how much rain we'd need, how many sprinkler heads we'd need, and so we gave ourselves a fallback space, which we never had to fill those in. So those 5 basic brush sprinkler heads that work in your garden are what make the rain. And that is attached to a garden hose, which has to be flexible because the garden hose comes off of the machine over here and goes to the ladies' bathroom. And it has to be flexible. The reason we needed a garden hose, and so we got a dual faucet here so the ladies can wash their hands during the show and not affect it. But then when it comes time for the rain sequence, we have to turn that valve off, turn this valve on, open up both of the valves full tilt so we get a nice warm water so we don't hurt our Don as he's singing. We want him to have nice warm water. We don't even want to freeze him. And this has to be flexible with the garden hose and the drain hose because this is one gigantic truck with 18 wheels on it, which has to stay upstage back there during the whole show, hidden by all of the curtains and such, so no one actually sees that. It sits way back here, and then right as Act 1 is about to end, we have 5 men push this whole truck forward for the rain scene right behind the proscenium. Back here you see the most important part, which is the drain. Basically, this is a corrugated drain, which usually goes underground from your house gutters, and we use that because it is flexible and it has to be one piece so we don't have any leaks in it anywhere else. It folds underneath a drip edge. It's just like a drip edge that fits on the edge of your house, right at the edge of the shingles, and that drip edge is waterproofed to the top of the truck, and then the drain line, this drain line slips underneath it. We had some failures because this was not strong enough to hold all of the water, so I had to install an actual gutter underneath here, the same 5-inch gutter that you use on your house. And finally, when we installed that, it made the entire drain rigid enough to not collapse under the weight of the water. Plus, it gives me some emergency. If something should happen, it will catch all the water and it will go out the other end. But that has not happened yet, and nor do I ever hope that it happens.
So what's with the L brackets?
The L brackets actually push the plastic corrugation backwards so that it doesn't fold back underneath the drip edge, which is what the big problem was. A couple times I did it with just the corrugated drain line. It got so heavy it drooped and it came out from underneath the drip edge and then spilled onto the floor.
So even the straps, all those straps that we have on here still weren't enough.
That's right. And the L brackets basically push this back, which pushes the upstage side of the drain up, which keeps it underneath the drip edge, and we haven't had a moment's worry since then.
Wow.
So that it was a lot of R&D involved in this, 5 months of planning, and then you come out here and then all of a sudden you go, oh my goodness, what do we got? we have to do something else there. That's not quite going to get it. And so once we added that aluminum gutter underneath, the drain that does all the work, that solved all of the problems. And it's basically a level platform. That's probably in drainage one of the most important things that occurred, because I was concerned about making this platform. This is basically a tub here. I've got a 1x4 caulked in around it, waterproofed around it, so that no water can spill off onto the stage. We get a lot of water on the stage from splashing, but the 1x4 around the edge creates a 3/4 inch height on the downstage side. And I thought I had to tilt, through all my months of research, I thought I had to tilt this back end, worrying about draining the water off into that drain. Once I got it out here, my brain clicked in and said, water finds its own level. I don't have to tilt this thing. I can make it
So it's not sloped? It's not sloped.
No, it's not sloped at all. I can make it perfectly flat and put 3/4 of an inch in the front. The water will never raise higher than that because of the opening. Now, here's the key. Underneath this wall, this is a gigantic 12-foot wall made with regular Luan flats, sitting on blocks of 3/4 inch wood every 2 feet or so. So the whole wall is sitting, not sitting on the riser as normally you would make a set.
Sure.
You would set that down on there. But we put 3/4 inch blocks every 2 feet apart, thus allowing the water to flow between the 3/4 inch blocks underneath the wall.
Right.
And I had that all the way across.
It looks like you've blocked it off a little bit there.
Yeah, I had to, because where he does most of his splashing and singing in the rain is right about here that I saw.
Right.
And I was getting the bigger puddle here because of just the way the stage is set up. But I had to block off a large section, and I'm thinking about even blocking off more of it so that the water puddles here, so that he can get a good, when he jumps, he can get and kicks, which is what he does mostly in this area. I've created puddles, and that's another key thing to singing in the rain, is to have puddles.
You gotta
have puddles, you know. And so this is the way to get them, is to block off the water a bit, so that it has to go around that way and work its way around that way. And in the meantime, it's puddling right here.
Wow. Tell me about this lamp, because I know he's got to hang off this lamp and do all kinds of stuff on the lamp. So what's the deal?
This is the key thing for singing in the rain, is that scene where he goes like that. And it's just a standard lamp post, which we built a custom-made base for, with Denise painting a beautiful base on it. It's just plywood, and it's just all bolted down very, very solidly. And even when he grabs it, she shakes a little bit, but there's nothing you can do about that because of the leverage.
What about these special lights you got on? You've got some extra lights actually on this rain set.
The hardest thing about rain on stage is getting you to the point where you can actually see it. Because if we didn't have these side lights over here, you could not see it. It's a torrent when it comes down. But for some reason, the audience cannot see it because of the reflectability or the invisibility of water droplets. So the key is to backlight it or side light it. So we added these 2 lights on the bottom, which sit off stage, and then I added 2 more lights at the top, just to get more light coming in, so that you could see. And after we did that, then I'm pretty satisfied that the audience can see the rain.
Oh yeah, they see it.
You know, because without that, it was amazing how invisible it was. The best view was from the stage manager's console looking this way. It looks like a hurricane, you know, from this side and that side.
Absolutely.
But from the audience, there was hardly anything.
That's
so, you know, we have to make the audience see the rain.
So what are the dimensions of this thing?
This is 22 feet wide. It's 5 feet deep. and it's 12 feet high.
Wow.
And we worked the height, the distance, and the rain is actually coming in 1 foot upstage of the edge here. We found that if we put the pipes even with the curb, then we got too much splash over onto the stage itself. So we found in research and development that we had to suck it in a foot, and when it came down, it had a really nice angle here where it would hit the stage and not hit the truck and not go out onto the stage very much. So we had to. That took a long time. We were out in the alley for a while with these pipes when we first started because we had no idea what it would do. And then we went into the shop and we hung plastic 12 foot on the ceiling to control the water. Finally, we were pretty confident that we could bring it actually onto the stage to sprinkle it with a confidence that we weren't going to flood the stage because we're dealing with the historic Crighton Theater at a brand new stage floor, and the last thing in the world we wanted to do was do any harm to the Crighton Theater, and yet also have it rain. So there were some very stiff obstacles. We had certain parameters that we had to work in, and it turns out it worked out just fine. And it's the art of simplicity. I did a lot of research. People talked about recirculating the water, having drums, having pumps, and then you had pumps, but then you had to have heaters, and then you had to introduce new water after a while because the water would get stagnant, stale over the week because there's a lot of dirt involved. And I thought, no, I want to go simple here. I can get water from Conroe and pump it right out and dump it right out into the alley. And I just had a feeling I could do that. And I had a lot of doubters, but it turns out it works.
So interesting part is actually when the rain leaves this set and gets onto the stage, how do you clean up the water that gets off there so fast?
That's really interesting because we have to get it cleaned up. It actually, where it's sitting right now, we get a sprinkle out to about 3 feet. But then Don Lockwood, when he's dancing, singing in the rain, he's already been in the rain, so he's got an umbrella and a wet feet and wet suit, and he goes up to and he sings the entire distance here on the apron of the stage. So he carries the water. Plus his splashing, he carries the water up there. So what we do is as soon as the act ends, the secret here is a squeegee, a floor squeegee that's about this wide. And as soon as the act is over and the intermission begins, we have someone floor squeegeeing the entire stage. We bring in 2 fans that blow on it, and we have a wet vac. As he squeegees the puddles upstage, the wet vac collects them, and they're down to about 2.5 minutes of clearing this entire stage, which is about, my guess is 15 feet that way and 26 feet this way.
And they cleared it all.
And they clear it all, and it is totally dry in 2.5 minutes so that we can drop our main and be out of the way of the intermission, because we didn't want to interfere with the intermission. And that's amazing. So it's all about the squeegee. It's all about the squeegee.
So about how much hardware do you think, in terms of dollars, you think is in this set?
Oh, golly,
1,000, 1,500, or less than that?
In this particular set?
If we don't count the reuse, because the lamp is reused, because we've had that from before.
Yeah.
I mean, the lights exist. I mean,
the pipes in the hose in the drain line, I would say there's probably only about 400 new dollars in it. It's probably only 400 new dollars in it. Of course, I have sprinkler hoses next door, which have never been used. They're the kind you spread out in the garden. I bought some stuff that we didn't even use. We had intended, okay, we'll buy this, this, this. We don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
We had to buy lots of extra PVC because we don't know what we're going to reuse or use. And then the big drain line. We had to buy 100 foot of flexible drain line, and you know, that's like 60, 70 bucks in that. And the angle iron's probably one of the highest thing, all those darn little pieces of angle iron which had to be there, which really helped it. And then there's styrofoam in the set too. We used an awful lot of styrofoam.
That sounds like a decent touch.
And really there was a lot of expense. All of the joints are taped on this with a waterproof tape, which is like $26 a roll, which I managed to cut in half to get more of it because there's 100 feet of it taping all of the joints behind this paint. And I had to ensure that I was creating a waterproof. I didn't want to hurt our flats, which are just Luan flats, and they get flooded with rain. You're close up now. Do you want to see how flooded they get with rain?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, follow me. We have. Are you following me?
Yeah. I'm following.
We have this. The final valve is there.
Right.
That's the final valve. So that right before the rain begins.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
We go into the bathroom. We turn both faucets on full.
Yeah.
Then we turn this arm on. So now it's heading to the set.
Yep.
And then Anna, and the last moment, when they're about here, just turns this valve on. The garden hose goes to the PVC, to the bush sprinklers, and then she lets it go.
And there it comes down.
And there it comes. and the awning is really a big plus for this particular set piece, because for some reason the lights love to catch the edge of the awning and the water coming down from that.
Right.
And that was really a great addition. And it's hurricanic when it comes, and it's splashing off the windowsill. And all that stuff is caulked. Usually I don't caulk anything on a set, but on this particular, I had to waterproof everything. And if you see all that, and then take a step behind here.
Yeah, we see the water coming now. Yeah.
We're not losing any water through the set at all. It's all going on top of this metal drip edge. Right into the gutter. And that's, if you follow that, I don't know if you followed that or not.
I can see it's kind of, you can't see it on the metal, but you can definitely see it go into the guttering.
The truck has to move backwards and forwards. So I had to have flexible guttering, and it runs out here, down here, and simply gets, oh, we don't have much light out here. But it gets thrown out the back door. Just the simplest thing you could imagine. We just toss it out the back door, and that's where it goes. That's always the lowest point, and water always goes to the lowest point.